This afternoon we're talking to Jordan, who last week shared his testimony and how he came to Jesus Christ. Jesus rescued him from a drug addiction, suicide and the occult.
Last week we heard about your experience of being born again. Jordan, what was that like for you?
Before I heard the term, before the term born again to me was, it was sort of just a religious term to me. I didn't really quite understand it. But after my experience when I encountered Jesus, afterwards, all my old habits, all my addictions, they went away instantly in the space of this 10-minute ordeal. And every single part of my being changed. It was really quite amazing. All the colours were restored back to nature. I enjoyed the food I ate, and I had an overwhelming feeling of peace.
Would you say that this period of time was the beginning of your rescue back to God?
I feel that, we're talking about the story of a God who came into this world to reveal himself to us, show how much he loved us in dying for us. So I feel that every single individual, as soon as they're born, they are assigned, you're born into this world. It's not just a physical world. There are spiritual elements to it. It's not just material. There's immaterial as well. And I believe every person right now has one of two paths that they can follow. And, that's an individual's free will. God didn't want forced love. And so in free will, we can aspire to love him or not. And this is where that's why evil happens in this world, because we have free will within our morality. Even though we know what we're doing is wrong, we suppress the truth in unrighteousness because we're all sinners. But I feel that God is continually extending his hand. He says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Anyone who hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with him and him with me." So, but it was a very, very impactful rescue in that moment when everything came together. Beforehand, I was in an incredibly dark place, just overnight, over 10 minutes rather. He gave everything back to me. So I'm lucky to be alive and in him.
So when you started going back to church, did you receive any backlash from mates, or was it an easy transition back to God? There were a couple of things, but nothing really substantial. I'm very grateful that I live in Australia, once I realised the truth, and once I realised truth that there is absolute truth in Jesus, who himself said he was the truth. I was prepared to tell individuals, what was going on, and they were quite surprised because they were the last person. I was the last person that they expected, to have an experience with Jesus, and so I'm quite grateful because the majority of interactions were relatively positive. Most people in Australia, because we don't have suffering that's impacting us all the time, we do, but not in a sense of severity. We're quite happy to just continue our days and go on. So a lot of people, they just don't really sort of care about those sort of things. But the church that I went to, they accepted me. There was they accept people from all walks of life, and they really display Jesus. I was a habitual addict. Every single day I was drinking and doing other things that I didn't really enjoy at that point. They accepted me in and didn't turn me away. When I told them, that I had been involved in the occult and stuff like that, they accepted me. They accepted me in, and I believe the majority of churches would and should do that. You can walk in no matter what background, because as we see with Jesus, he did walk with people that individuals thought, he shouldn't be walking with, and he actually came from a lineage with very colourful individuals.
There are currently thousands of youth in Australia who currently rely on drugs and alcohol. Some of them are at the point where they can't physically do it anymore. What would you say to them?
When I was younger, I got told, by my family members and stuff, you don't want to go there, you don't want to take drugs, you don't want to do these things. And I was the type of person why? That actually makes me more curious. But what actually ends up happening is it starts off fun, not always, but some individuals say they'll have some drinks or they'll smoke or something like that, and then before you know it, your friends have turned into people you don't recognise. You yourself will become someone totally different. Your identity will be wrapped up in this thing, when in reality your identity is in Jesus Christ. So it's not once an addict, always an addict. I don't believe that. I believe that you'll be a new creation in Jesus Christ. And basically you've got to come to a point where it's, do you really want this anymore? Do you really want this? Or do you not? Do you really want God to take it away? Because all I would say to those individuals is ask Jesus to fully surrender to Him and ask Him to take it away. And that is He's the only hope that you basically have for a full life, transformation. I would just say don't even really go there, because all those things that you hear about when you're younger, they eventually start coming true. All the nightmares of drugs and alcohol will start coming true, and you may find yourself at a point where you're a slave to them. And you need to set free, because it's not a life at all. It really isn't. It really isn't. So Jesus is about freedom, but the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Jordan, thank you so much for coming on the show this afternoon.
Thanks for having me.
You can catch Jordan again next week after 4:30 p.m.
And if you need any help, you can call Lifeline at any time on 13 11 14, or you can contact Youth Jam Radio on www.youthjamradio.com. There's always someone out there to assist you.